Good morning, students. In the last class, we have seen what do you mean by banker's lien, and we have also seen banker's obligation to honor check. मतलब जब चेक बैंक क्या करता है, इशू करता है, तो उसको कौन सा पॉइंट्स ध्यान में रखना चाहिए. उन्होंने ऐसे ही चेक को हॉनर नहीं करना चाहिए, मतलब इशू नहीं करना चाहिए. सो दे शुड कीप सम पॉइंट्स इन कंसिडरेशन while making the payment for the check. Okay. In today's class, we are going to see write a note on banker's right of set off. Okay, so let's see first what do you mean by banker's right of set off. Okay, उसके बाद हम लोग देखेंगे how to write the point. So first we'll see the write the introduction, that is in the banker's customer's context. This essentially means that the bank and a customer owe each other's debt on account held between them. Each is entitled to net the debts and pay only the balance that remain owing. ओके, मतलब दोनों का रिलेशन जो है इट इज़ लाइक डेट्स, बोथ आर ओइंग द डेट्स, मतलब दोनों के ऊपर क्या है, बोझ है. हम लोग बोलते हैं डेट मतलब बोझ. ओके, सो दे शुड पे ऑफ द डेट्स. ओके, ओनली द रिमेनिंग ओइंग वट एवर अमाउंट दे ओ, दे हैव टू पे द बैलेंसेस. The right of the set off is usually invoked on the termination of the banker's customer's relationship, or when there are financial problem for either party, or either when the customer has defaulted on the loan or has become insolvent, or when the bank itself is insolvent. Okay, तो दोनों डिफॉल्ट लोन कब बनता है, when bank itself has become the insolvent. Okay, so let's see what is the meaning of right of set off. Okay, the right of set off is what, it is the statutory right, मतलब it is given by the law. Okay, law के हिसाब से है. Okay, so it is a statutory right which enables the debtor to take into account the debts. Okay, debtors को क्या करता है, it helps the debtors, it enables the debtors to take into account the right owned, okay, to him by the creditor before the latter could recover the debt due to him from the debtors. Okay, so in other words, it is a statutory right, मतलब it is given by the law which enables the banker to combine two account in the name of the same customer. जो दो customers है, ओके, सपोज कस्टमर जो है उनका सपोज दो अकाउंट है, देन दैट टू अकाउंट्स कैन बी कंबाइंड. ओके, एंड वट एवर अमाउंट इज द बैलेंस, इट विल बी एडजस्टेड ऑन द अकाउंट विद द क्रेडिट बैलेंस इन द अदर. Okay, that is known as right of set off. So the mutual claim of the debtors and creditors are adjusted together, and only the remainder amount is payable by the debtors. Okay, जो remaining amount है वो debtor pay करेगा. Now execution of right, who has the right to execute it? The right of the set off can be exercised only by the banker. Okay, and if there is no agreement contrary to the right, after a notice is served on the customers intimating the banker's intention to exercise the right of set off. Okay, the banker can take the letter of set off from the customer authorizing the banker to exercise the right to set off without giving him any notice. Okay, so this is the execution of right is given only to whom, to the banker. Okay, next is condition. So what are the conditions? Okay, the right of set off may be exercised subject to the fulfillment of the following conditions. Okay, there are some conditions which need to be fulfilled. Okay, the first one is account must be in the same name and in the same right. Okay, दैट इज मतलब जो अकाउंट है इट शुड बी इन द सेम नेम. ओके, जो नाम है उसी नाम पे वो अकाउंट्स रहने चाहिए. दो अकाउंट रहते हैं, सपोज इफ देर इज टू अकाउंट ऑफ माइन, देन बोथ द अकाउंट शुड हैव प्रियंका महाले एज द अकाउंट नंबर, मतलब एज द कस्टमर नेम. ओके, for the application of the right of the set off, both the account of the customer must be the same name and the same right. Okay, same right means that the capacity of the account holder in both the account, all the account must be the same. ओके, मतलब जितने अकाउंट है उसमें जो अकाउंट होल्डर का जो राइट है इट शुड बी सेम. मतलब कई बार जॉइंट अकाउंट रहते हैं, उसमें से एक अकाउंट होल्डर को ज़्यादा राइट्स दिया जाता है. सो ऐसा नहीं. व्हेन इट इज़ अ अकाउंट होल्डर देन दैट अकाउंट होल्डर शुड हैव द सेम राइट इन all the accounts. Okay, so underlying principle is there, the rule of the same right is that fund belong to someone else but standing in the name of the account holder should not be made available to certify the personal debts. Okay, मतलब नाम इसका है और वो अमाउंट किसी और का है, then this should not be the case. Okay, so here the right to exercise in respect of the debt due and not for contingent debts. Okay, मतलब the right can be exercised in respect of debts due and not in respect of the future debts or contingent debts. Okay, for example, a banker can set off a credit balance in the account of the customer towards the payment of the bill which is already due. Okay, but not in respect of the bill which will nurture in future. Okay, sorry, which will nurture in future. So if the loan is given to a customer is repayable on demand or at a future date. Okay, the debt becomes due only when the banker makes the demand or on the specific date or not earlier. Okay, so जो डेट है उसी डेट पे उसका पेमेंट रहना चाहिए. नेक्स्ट इज अमाउंट ऑफ द डेट मस्ट बी सर्टन. जो डेट का अमाउंट है वो चेंज नहीं रहना चाहिए, हर दिन चेंज होता है वैसा वाला नहीं रहना चाहिए. इट शुड बी सर्टन, मतलब इट शुड बी सेम. सो इट इज़ नोटेड दैट द अमाउंट ऑफ डेट ड्यू फ्रॉम द बोथ द पार्टीज ईदर टू ईच other must be certain. Okay, if liability of any one of the is not determined exactly, the right of set off cannot be exercised. The banker cannot exercise the right as and when realized and the amount of the debt has become irrevocable. Okay, then there should not be an agreement inconsistent with the right. So the banker may exercise the right in the absence of the agreement to the contrary. If there is an agreement whether implied or expressed inconsistent with the right of set off, the banker cannot exercise such right. Okay, next is banker may exercise the right at his discretion. That is, the banker may exercise this right of set off only in the case of two accounts of the customer in the same branch. Okay, the bank but also in the case of two or more account of the same customer in different branches. Okay, of the same bank. However, the customer cannot compel or pursue the banker to exercise the right and to pay the credit balance at the other branches. Okay, so this is the third right that should be considered. Okay, next, the right to be exercised before the garnishee order is made effective. Okay, that is, the banker has the right to exercise the right before the garnishee order is made. Okay, so garnishee order होने से पहले ये right exercise करना चाहिए. That is, after receiving the garnishee order in respect of fund belonging to his customer, the banker has the right to first exercise the right of its set off and therefore to surrender only the remainder amount of the judgment creditor. Okay, मतलब पहले सेट ऑफ करना चाहिए. सेट ऑफ गार्निशी ऑर्डर के बाद नहीं कर सकते, ओनली गार्निशी ऑर्डर होने के पहले हमें क्या करना है, सेट ऑफ करना है. सेट ऑफ होने के बाद जो रिमेनिंग अमाउंट है दैट विल गो टू द कस्टमर को वही अमाउंट पे करना है. ओके, when the right of set off cannot be exercised, set off का जो right है कब हम लोग एक्सरसाइज नहीं करना चाहिए. So there are some points. That is, in case of trust account, if the dues are owned by an individual, then it cannot be. Okay, if it is a joint account, the individual owes the account, in that case also we cannot set off the account. Okay, set off मतलब clear करना. Then, if the customer has assigned the money to the third party and the banker is already notified. Okay, इस केस में भी हम लोग नहीं कर सकते. Then, if the customer and the banker agrees to keep the account separate and do not combine. Okay, जब customer बोलता है कि don't combine my account. Okay, in that case also you cannot set off. Next is in case of partnership firm, okay, the bank can exercise the right of set off against partners private account. Okay, partnership account में भी they cannot set off the account, okay, क्योंकि वहाँ पे बहुत सारे partners रहते हैं, so for individual purpose they cannot. Okay, so if the partner has signed the document in their individual capacity also for the overdraft in the firm's account, but the credit balance in the firm account cannot be set off against personal overdraft. Okay, personal अगर उसने कुछ लोन वगैरह लिया है तो वो नहीं set off कर सकते. Okay, or the partner, as the money in the firm account does not belong to one partner but it is the property of all partners jointly. Next is in case of guarantor. Okay, the banker cannot exercise the right of set off unless the default on the part of the principal debtor has been placed. Okay, once the guarantor liability crystallizes and the notice of the demand is served on him, the banker can exercise the right of set off. Okay, so these are the situations where they cannot exercise the right of set off.